Hello, and welcome back to the English Leap Podcast, the place where we help you make a giant leap towards fluency in the English language. I am your host, and I am so happy that you have decided to join me today for a very special episode that is focused entirely on talking practice and how to speak like a native speaker. Today, we are going to explore the secrets of natural conversation, the hidden rules of pronunciation, and the simple habits that can transform your voice from sounding like a textbook to sounding like a real person. Many students spent years studying grammar rules and memorizing vocabulary lists, yet when they open their mouths to speak, they feel stuck, robotic, or unsure of themselves. This is a very common problem, but do not worry, because today we are going to solve it together. We are going to look at the specific techniques that native speakers use without even thinking, and we will break them down into easy steps that you can practice at home. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear roadmap to sounding more confident, more fluid, and more like a native speaker. So please get comfortable. Put on your headphones and let us begin this exciting journey to better English speaking. To begin our journey, we must first understand that speaking like a native is not just about knowing the right words. It is about understanding the music of the language. Every language has its own unique rhythm, melody, and beat, and English is no different. When you listen to a native speaker, you might notice that they do not pronounce every single word with the same strength or clarity. Some words are loud and long, while other words are short and quiet. This is because English is a stress-timed language, which means the rhythm is created by the stressed syllables, not by the number of syllables. If you try to speak English by giving every word the same importance, you will sound like a machine. To speak like a native, you must learn to relax and flow with the music of the sentence. You need to identify which words carry the most meaning, usually the nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, and emphasize them. The other words, like prepositions and articles, should slide by quickly and quietly. This change in mindset is the first major step you must take to sound natural. Let us dive deeper into this concept of sentence stress, because it is truly the foundation of native-like speech. Imagine you are a musician playing a drum. The loud beats are your content words, the words that tell the story. The soft beats are the structure words, the grammar words that hold the sentence together. For example, if I say the sentence, "I want to go to the park," a robot would say every word clearly, but a native speaker will say, "I want to go to the park." The words want, go, and park are the important pieces of information. If you only heard those three words, you would still understand the basic message. The words to and the are reduced, almost disappearing into the background. This reduction is what makes English sound fast to beginners, but it is actually just efficiency. Native speakers are efficient. They want to get to the important information quickly. So, your first practice assignment is to listen to native speakers and try to tap your hand on the table every time you hear a stressed word. Feel the rhythm in your body before you try to speak it. Now that we understand rhythm, we must talk about a technique called shadowing, which is perhaps the most powerful tool for learning to speak like a native. Shadowing is very simple in theory, but it requires focus and active participation. The idea is to listen to a piece of native English audio, like this podcast, and repeat exactly what you hear, almost at the same time as the speaker. You are not just repeating the words, you are acting like a shadow, following the speaker's every move. You must copy the speed, the pauses, the emotion, and the intonation. When I go up in pitch, you go up. When I go down, you go down. If I whisper, you whisper. This technique works because it bypasses your logical brain, which is obsessed with grammar rules, and connects directly to your motor skills. It forces your mouth muscles to move in new ways. You should practice shadowing for just 10 or 15 minutes every single day. Start with short sentences, and as you get better, try to shadow longer paragraphs without stopping. One of the biggest secrets to sounding like a native is something called connected speech. In many languages, words are like separate bricks in a wall with clear spaces between them. In English, words are like water. They flow into each other without stopping. When a word ends with a consonant sound and the next word begins with a vowel sound, native speakers link them together. For example, look at the phrase an apple. We do not say an, pause, apple. We say an apple, as if it were one single word. Another example is wake up. We connect the k sound to the sound, creating wake up. This linking happens constantly in every sentence. If you stop between every word, your speech will sound choppy and difficult to listen to. To practice this, take a simple sentence and draw a line connecting the end of one word to the beginning of the next. Visualizing these connections can help you remember to slide your sounds together. It might feel strange at first, but smooth transitions are key to native fluency. Another aspect of connected speech that you must master is the concept of assimilation, where sounds change because of their neighbors. This happens very often when we speak quickly in casual conversation. A classic example is the phrase, did you? When we speak carefully, we say, did you? But in natural fast English, the d sound at the end of did mixes with the y sound at the beginning of you to create a j sound. So the question becomes, did ya? Did you go to the store? Or did you see that movie? This is not lazy English. This is standard spoken English. Native speakers use these shortcuts to maintain the flow and rhythm of the conversation. Another example is don't you, which often sounds like duncha. If you use these assimilated sounds, you will instantly sound more like a local and less like a student. However, it is important to know the context. In a formal business presentation, you might want to speak more clearly. But in a coffee shop with friends, didja is the perfect way to speak. Let us talk about the most common sound in the English language, a sound so small yet so important that it has its own name, the schwa. The schwa sounds like a very short, weak It is the sound of a vowel that is not stressed. Remember when we talked about sentence stress earlier? The words that are not stressed often turn into a schwa sound. For example, look at the word banana. We do not say ba-na-na with 3 strong A sounds. We stress the middle syllable. The first and last A become schwas. It sounds like banana. This happens in thousands of words. Teacher ends with a schwa. About begins with a schwa. Doctor ends with a schwa. If you try to pronounce every vowel perfectly clearly as it is written in the alphabet, you will have a very strong foreign accent. To speak like a native, you must learn to be lazy with your unstressed vowels. You must relax your mouth and just make a tiny grunt sound. Mastering the schwa is the secret ingredient to sounding American or British. Now, let us move away from pronunciation for a moment and talk about the vocabulary you choose. Native speakers use a lot of phrasal verbs in their daily life. A phrasal verb is a verb combined with a preposition, like give up, look for, or run out. Textbooks often teach formal Latin-based words like surrender, seek, or deplete. While these formal words are correct, using them in casual conversation can make you sound overly formal or stiff. Instead of saying, I will extinguish the fire, a native speaker would say, I will put out the fire. Instead of saying, I desire to maintain my relationship, They might say, I want to keep up my relationship. If you want to sound like a native, you should start collecting these phrasal verbs. Listen for them in movies and TV shows. When you hear one, write it down and try to use it in a sentence immediately. They are the backbone of casual English conversation, and using them correctly shows that you truly understand the culture of the language. In addition to phrasal verbs, native speakers use a lot of filler words and discourse markers. These are words like actually, basically, you know, I mean, and well. In school, teachers might tell you to avoid these words because they do not carry information. But in real life, these words serve a very important purpose. They act as signals to the listener. They soften a statement, give you time to think, or show how you feel about what you are saying. For example, if someone invites you to a party and you cannot go, saying, "No, I am busy," sounds rude and abrupt. But if you say, "Well, actually, I'm a bit busy tonight, you know," it sounds much softer and more polite. These words smooth out the edges of conversation. Of course, you should not overuse them, but sprinkling a few of them into your speech will make you sound much more natural and comfortable. It shows that you are thinking in English and navigating the social nuance of the language. Let us discuss the importance of contraction. A contraction is when we combine two words into one, like I am becoming I'm, or do not becoming don't, or will not becoming won't. Native speakers use contractions almost 100% of the time in spoken English. Using full forms like I do not know or I cannot go sounds very robotic or incredibly emphatic, as if you are angry. If you want to sound like a native, you must embrace contractions. You should even get comfortable with double contractions, which are very common in spoken English, but rarely written in formal texts. Examples include I'd have for I would have, or shouldn't have for should not have. Saying I shouldn't have eaten that cake flows much better than I should not have eaten that cake. Practice these contractions until they feel natural in your mouth. They are essential for keeping up with the speed of native conversation and for maintaining the correct rhythm of the sentence. Another psychological barrier to speaking like a native is the fear of making mistakes. Many students pause constantly to check their grammar in their heads before they speak. They translate from their native language to English, check the verb tense, check the preposition, and then finally speak. This process destroys your fluency. Native speakers make mistakes too. They stumble, they restart sentences, and they use and The difference is that they do not panic. To speak like a native, you must prioritize communication over perfection. You must be willing to make mistakes and keep going. Think of speaking English like playing a sport. If you miss the ball, you do not stop the game and cry. You keep running and try to catch the next one. The more you relax and stop worrying about being perfect, the more your brain will naturally access the language patterns you have learned. Confidence often sounds like fluency. If you speak with confidence, people will understand you better, even if your grammar is not 100% perfect. To truly internalize these habits, you need to change how you consume English media. Passive listening is good, but active analysis is better. When you watch a movie or a TV show, do not just watch for the plot, watch for the language. Pick one character and pretend you are them. How do they move their mouth? What facial expressions do they use? In English, we use our mouth muscles differently than in other languages. We often open our mouths wider and use our tongues more actively. Sometimes, watching the speaker's mouth can help you understand how to make the sound. Try to find a scene from a movie, maybe just 30 seconds long, and watch it 10 times. Analyze the linking, the stress, the intonation, and the slang. Then, try to record yourself performing that scene. Compare your recording to the original.
This honest comparison is painful at first, but it is the fastest way to fix your pronunciation errors.
Speaking of recording yourself, this is a habit that every serious learner must adopt. I know that listening to your own voice can be uncomfortable. We all think we sound strange on a recording, but the microphone does not lie. When you speak, you hear your voice through the bones in your head, which makes it sound deeper and richer. When you listen to a recording, you hear what the world hears. You might discover that you are speaking too fast, or that you are not pronouncing the S at the end of words, or that your intonation is very flat. Use the voice memo app on your phone. Record yourself describing your day, summarizing a news article, or just talking about your feelings. Listen to it and find one thing to improve. Then record it again. This cycle of record, listen, correct, and repeat is the method that actors use to learn accents. If it works for Hollywood actors, it will work for you. Let us also talk about the speed of speech. Many students think that speaking fast equals speaking fluently. This is a myth. In fact, when beginners try to speak fast, they usually just become incomprehensible. Their sounds get muddy, they stutter, and they lose the rhythm. True fluency is about control and flow, not speed. Many charismatic native speakers actually speak quite slowly. They take their time. They use pauses effectively. A pause is not a silence. It is a moment for the listener to process what you said. If you pause at the right moments, usually at commas and periods, you sound thoughtful and intelligent. Do not rush. It is better to speak slowly and clearly with good rhythm than to speak quickly and confuse everyone. Slow down, breathe, and give each sound the space it needs. As you get more comfortable, your speed will naturally increase without you trying. Another vital tip is to stop translating in your head. You must learn to think in English. This sounds difficult, but you can start with very simple steps. Look around the room you are in right now. Name the objects in English: table, chair, computer, light. Now try to make simple sentences in your head about what is happening. The light is bright. I am listening to a podcast. I feel tired. Do this throughout your day. When you walk down the street, narrate your walk in your mind. I am walking to the bus stop. It is cold today. I see a red car. By narrating your life in English, you build a direct connection between your thoughts and the English language. You eliminate the middleman of your native language. Eventually, you will find that English words come to you automatically without the need for translation. This is the moment when you truly start to feel like a native speaker. Body language also plays a surprising role in how you sound. English speakers, particularly in North America and the UK, use specific body language cues. We value eye contact. When you speak to someone, looking them in the eye shows confidence and sincerity. If you look down, you might seem unsure or shy, which affects how your voice projects. We also use hand gestures to emphasize points. Using your hands can actually help your voice find the right rhythm. If you feel stuck on a word, sometimes a gesture can help unlock it. Furthermore, your posture affects your breathing. If you are hunched over, your lungs cannot fill with air, and your voice will sound weak. Stand up straight or sit up tall. This allows you to project your voice clearly and speak with the volume and resonance of a native speaker. Physical confidence leads to vocal confidence. We must also discuss the cultural aspect of conversation. Native speakers often use small talk to build rapport before diving into deep topics. Knowing how to chat about the weather, sports, or the weekend is a crucial skill. It might seem superficial, but these little conversations are the grease that keeps the social machine running smoothly. Learn the typical questions. How was your weekend?
crazy weather we're having, right? Catch the game last night? And learn the typical answers. Native speakers usually keep these answers positive and brief. If someone asks, "How are you?" the expected answer is, "Good, thanks, and you?" even if you are having a bad day. Understanding these cultural scripts helps you blend in. If you give a long, honest, negative answer to "How are you?" in a casual setting, it might surprise the other person and mark you as an outsider. Cultural fluency is just as important as linguistic fluency.
Let's address the importance of consistency over intensity. It is much better to practice speaking for 10 minutes every day than to practice for 3 hours once a week. Speaking a language is a physical skill, like playing the piano or running. Your mouth muscles need daily training to remember the new positions. Your brain needs daily exposure to reinforce the neural pathways. Create a routine that you can stick to. Maybe you shadow this podcast while you drink your morning coffee. Maybe you talk to yourself in the shower. Maybe you read a book out loud before bed. Find the little pockets of time in your day and fill them with English. If you miss a day, do not give up. Just start again the next day. Consistency is the compound interest of language learning. Over weeks and months, these small daily sessions will add up to a massive transformation in your ability to speak. Finally, you need to find real people to talk to. While practicing alone is excellent for building skills, you eventually need to test those skills in the wild. You need the unpredictability of a real conversation. Look for language exchange partners online or in your city. There are many apps where you can find people who want to learn your language and will help you with English in return. Join a club or a group that shares your hobbies, but in English. If you love gaming, play on English servers. If you love cooking, join an English cooking forum. When you are focused on a task or a hobby, you forget to be nervous about the language. You just want to communicate to achieve a goal. This is when the best learning happens. Do not wait until you are perfect to talk to people. You become perfect by talking to people. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the English Leap podcast. I hope you found these tips on talking practice helpful and inspiring. Remember, sounding like a native is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, patience, and a lot of practice, but I know you can do it. Every time you practice shadowing, every time you use a contraction, and every time you embrace a mistake, you are taking a leap forward. Please do not forget to like this video if you learned something new today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a lesson. We are here to support you every step of the way. Keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep speaking. Until next time, take care and happy learning.